goodness, I have been meaning to upload something. I am so sorry that it's been so long. Oh, brother. Anyways, we're here. We are here again after over 2 weeks. Gosh, it's been too long. Well, I'm happy to be back at it. How is everyone doing? I just had my birthday, so I'm old now. Yeah, back in my day, I was not old, and now I'm old. So, that's cool. But anyways, today I wanted to talk about, should we have more designs like Pulchra in the game? Now, my reasoning for this is simple. It's pretty cool variety. When I saw her design, right, I was like, oh, she looks pretty cool. And I'm actually very happy that she's going to be playable. I think she looks sick. And I personally have never really had anything against the animal designs. My favorite anime is Beastars, right? And to me, it is such a shame that people write off that show because it has animal characters. It's so good. The animation is amazing. The story is brilliant. It is such a good anime, but people are gonna write it off no matter what because, you know, it has furry characters, if you will. But I just think that's undermining it so much. It's such a good show. So for me, I've never really had a problem with characters that are complete animals. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean I like all of the designs. I don't really like Ben, but I do like Lycon. I think he looks super neat and fancy and all. It adds a lot of variety. You see, something that I've always really liked about ZZZ compared to the other gachas is that you're gonna get designs here that you just wouldn't get in the other games. And I would say that's mostly for the better, because even though not every single experimental design is really for me, I can at least acknowledge these are unique. They're trying something different here, and you wouldn't really get this anywhere else. For example, a character like Billy, he is just a complete robot with crazy hair and a funky jacket and everything. Lycon is literally a dog. And sure, like I said, it's not going to be for everyone, but it adds some spice. You know what I mean? It makes things a bit more interesting. And I always quite like whenever they make even partial Thyron characters, like for example, Miyabi or Jane Doe, and how those two have sort of partial animal features. It just helps in separating the roster a little bit more. Or shoot, we even have the red pig. I really don't want to say his name. Did they have to call him that? But yeah, there's the red pig. He also looks super duper different, and to be honest, when I first saw him, I was like, what the actual heck? But now that I'm more used to it, and that I've adjusted to it, I think it's a pretty cool design. And I do hope that at some stage, even if only as a 4-star, that he'll be playable, because just why not? I think that'd be pretty sick. And I know there's some people who just really can't stand these types of characters, and hey, not all of them are for me too. I get it. It's probably more financially beneficial for Hoyoverse in the long run to just focus on making primarily human-only characters, and at most maybe sticking like dog ears or cat ears on them. So I get it. But I do think that characters like Pulchra really help diversify the character roster. And here's the thing, they don't have to make characters like these limited 5-stars, they can always just experiment by making them 4-stars, like they're doing with Pulchra. And I'm so happy that she's gonna be playable because to me it shows that they haven't completely abandoned the idea of making these more unique character designs, because if you look at the roster of the recent limited 5-star characters, they have mostly been playing it pretty safe in terms of how the characters actually look. They're all humans, and at most, the last sort of animalistic character we got was Miyabi, and she doesn't even have a foxtail or anything like that. She has like the little eyeball guy that follows her around, and then she has the fox ears, and that's pretty much it. So to me, Pulchra being playable shows that they are going to make more of these Thyron types in the future. Now, granted, I don't know if they're going to do that in the long future, because it could just be a case of they know that these characters aren't they just aren't gonna sell, so they're just gonna completely scrap them. That is very much a possible reality. But, you know, they could have easily made Pulchra not playable and just left her as an NPC, you know? They didn't have to make her playable. So that does give me a slight bit of hope for the future of the uniqueness of the designs. Because if you ask me, I personally think she looks really cool. Like, okay, I'ma be real, she's the most exciting character in 1.6 to me, and that is not a slight at Ambi or Trigger, that is just me genuinely being really excited for Pulchra. I think she looks awesome. So, should they make more of these types of characters? I mean, it's difficult, because ultimately, they're massively kinda, you know, making the mass appeal of a character way smaller whenever they do take more bold moves like this. And Hoyoverse probably knows that, which is why we haven't actually gotten any limited 5-star yet that is a complete animal. We've only gotten standards and 4-stars and such. But that's fine too. I think if they just keep that up, then I'm perfectly happy with that, to be completely honest with you. I don't need any limited 5-star that's literally an animal, because I know that that's way too risky, just business-wise. I mean, I don't have the numbers, I'm just making guesses here, but I assume that that's probably not something that appeals to the largest number of people. But I believe that by having more characters such as Pulchra, just these sort of full Thyran characters, and listen, they don't have to be Thyrans, they don't have to be animals per se. They could be like Billy and just be literally robots, you know? Or even more characters like Miyabi and such that have animal parts. Like, they don't have to literally be that in specific. But honestly, I think that these more experimental designs would be more fun on the whole. Keyword here is more fun. I acknowledge that using the word beneficial wouldn't really fit here because, well, first of all, I don't really think it benefits Hoyoverse to make these more niche character designs. I just think it would be more fun, straight up. I just look at these types of characters and I'm like, this is cool. We just wouldn't get this in any other setting. You know what I mean by that? It's like with this type of game, you're just not going to get a full animal character because it's just too niche of an appeal. And once again, doesn't have to be a full animal, could just be a full robot or something like that. That's not to say that Hoyoverse has never taken any risks with their previous characters. For example, Boothill is a cyborg. He's literally half robot, whereas Billy is a full robot. They went all the way in ZZZ. I really don't have any solid, like, super business-oriented arguments as to why, oh, the game would profit so much more and be so much more healthy and amazing and everything and this and that if it had more animal robot characters and more, you know, funky characters. I just think it would be cool, man. Like, that's really all there is to it. I just think it would be really, really neat. Because it's just something cool that's core to the identity of ZZZ, you know? It's different, it's bold, and it likes to own that fact, at least in my opinion. So personally, in the future, I would like that for every major patch cycle. Obviously, we're only at 1.x, we don't know what the future really holds, but I do hope that Thyrans are still, you know, in the cards for the future. And my hope is that just for every patch cycle, we can get at least a handful of Thyrans, and maybe 1 or 2 of those are complete animals. At least to me, it gives every character just this much stronger sense of individuality and uniqueness, if you know what I mean. Because even if there's a specific character design that I don't really vibe with, I can look at them and be like, okay, at the very least, it's not generic. It is far from being generic. I do wonder if there's anybody else here that agrees that we should have more of these sort of funky, unique designs, or if generally all of us are sort of like, nah, let's just continue with the current sort of more traditional style of characters that are all human with minimal animalistic features if possible. Either way, I do think that the recent characters that they've been making look absolutely incredible. So I'm not concerned either way, it's just a preference of mine that we could continue to have a wider variety mixed in just to kind of keep things feeling super fresh. Besides, look at the upcoming units. Silver Soldier looks great, Trigger looks great, and then of course, there is my beloved Pulchra. So either way, I'm happy with whatever direction the game decides to go in this regard. I just wanted to yap about this because I'm wondering if there's anybody else that feels the same way. Like, shoot man, I'm gonna be building Billy eventually just because I think he looks really sick. And the same applies to Pulchra, even though I don't even think I'm gonna have a proper use case for her on my account. But those are just some quick thoughts on the matter. Definitely let me know about what you personally think down below. Do you think that more animal or robot or anything characters would be cool? Or would you ever just stick to kind of what we're doing now? I'd love to hear your thoughts. This has been Juice, signing out, and to be honest, no matter how many character designs Hoyoverse tries to make for this game, they are never going to top Lighter. Peak character design, I'm telling you.